Hello, it's so lovely to be part of this Advent series. Today's word is strengthen. There's a man by the name of Sir Dave Brailsford. He is a mastermind of winning bike races. He is the team boss of a team called Team Ineos, which used to be known as Team Sky. He came up with a philosophy, an idea called marginal gains when he was setting up Team Sky in the early days. Marginal gains as a philosophy and idea is that in all the different areas that represent a bike rider, that if they made small incremental changes in all the areas, it would have a big effect on the rider and the team winning races. So Sir Dave Brailsford, along with his team, decided to look into all the different areas that represented a race weekend or a race week or a race 3 weeks. And they looked at the hotels that they were staying in. The team recognised that the riders were in different beds every night, and this meant that they didn't get a consistent sleep. So what they decided to do was that they would get toppers for their mattresses and pillows that were the pillow that they used in each of the different hotels. They made sure that the temperature was the same in all the hotel rooms. This meant that it gave a consistent sleep pattern for each of the riders. They looked into nutrition and what they ate and when they ate it. They looked at the pedal strokes of each of the rider and gained data on that and improved and changed and made small adjustments to make sure that they could get the most out of each pedal stroke. They looked at the bikes themselves and decided in ways in which they could make them more aerodynamic. They looked at absolutely everything. They used science, they used data, they used psychology, and they were able to see ways, small ways of doing things differently and making the most out of each of the riders. This led to Team Sky and Team Ineos winning more Tour de France races than any other team in the last 10 years. Today's word is strengthen. And what does it mean for us as Christians, as followers of the way of Jesus, to strengthen ourselves, to look at ways in which we can make small incremental changes, marginal gains in our spiritual walk? Richard Foster writes a lovely book that I'm sure many of you have read called The Celebration of Discipline. In that book, he talks about different ways in our spiritual walk that we can look to strengthen, to make the most out of the things that we do. He looks at the way in which we study, the way in which we pray, the way that we fast, the way that we confess, the way that we worship and fellowship and rest and celebrate, the way that we offer service and generosity, and how we disciple make. All these different areas are in our spiritual life. And I wonder how many of us are looking at these different areas and thinking of ways in which we can make small changes, marginal gains, to improve our spiritual walk with Jesus. That might seem like something that you would like to do this day, to take some time to do that. But I know for many of you, this period is a time where you're feeling weary, and that you're feeling overworked and you're perhaps grieving losses. And so to even think of making marginal gains, of strengthening in that way, seems a wee bit too difficult. And we read these words in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 3, and it's from the Message version, and it says this: "You're blessed when you're at the end of your rope. With less of you, there is more of God." I wonder if perhaps we could maybe change some of that in relation to strength. And maybe if there was an additional beatitude, it would say this: "You're blessed in your weakness, for you will find God's strength." And we read these words in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28, and it says this: "Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." So this day, may you find a little time to strengthen your spiritual walk, to find marginal gains in the areas of perhaps study, prayer, fasting, confession, worship, fellowship, rest, celebration, service, generosity, or disciple making. But if in this season you are feeling weary, may you know that we have a God who is there for us, who never feels weary, who is full of strength. And may you put your hope in the God who renews your strength. Thank you.